Part 142. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1411. Seeing Lu Zhang, who looked the same but was not angry or intimidating, Jin Hong's eyes widened in an instant, full of shock. "Comrade Commander of the Army," he blurted out. At the same time, he reflexively gave a military salute to Lu Zhang, with an attitude that was attentive. Lu Zhang held Dun Dun, who was rubbing his eyes, with one hand and returned the salute, "Comrade Jin Hong." He never asked why Jin Hong appeared here, but Jin Hong was anxious. The reason why he left the army was disgraceful, but he eagerly wanted to return to the army and resume his original position. "Comrade Commander of the Army," Jin Hong's feet were like stepping on hot wheels. He was in front of Lu Zhang in an instant and said eagerly, "Are you here specifically to find Comrade Li Shuitian? How do you know that Comrade Li Shuitian lives here? Do you know that I live here? Oh, you were transferred to the Long Live Army in Beizhu. It's really close. How could I forget it?" Although Lu Zhang didn't know the reason why Jin Hong was expelled from the army, he could guess pretty well. He also understood the meaning of Jin Hong's many questions, but he pretended not to understand. "I didn't know you were settled in Beizhu, but I just met Comrade Li Shuitian by chance on the street." As for whether the forgetfulness in Jin Hong's words was really forgotten, Lu Zhang didn't bother to find out. How could the troops that Jin Hong left behind him not know that he was transferred to the Long Live Army? Perhaps, Jin Hong settled in Beizhu not without intention. "That's right," Li Shuitian interjected with a smile, without showing that he knew about Jin Hong's plot to murder him. "Comrade Lu Zhang and I met by chance today for the first time since I left the army. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known about Comrade Lu Zhang. It's great to be here in Beizhu. After all, it's not easy to meet a comrade. Don't you think so, Comrade Jin Hong?" Cao Hongju's face was not as good as her husband's, and continued, "Comrade Lu Zhang, you don't know yet, right? The 4 daughters of Comrade Jin Hong and Comrade Lu Zayadai are very lovable." Lu Zhang was stunned. 4 people? This means that Jin Hong and Lu Zayadai's 4th child is still a daughter. Cao Hongju stabbed Jin Hong's heart, liver, and lungs, and he was instantly beaten to pieces. However, he could not show off and said sternly, "Women can hold up half the sky. Now is the new socialist era where everyone is equal society. What's wrong with the daughter? Good daughter, all daughters are carrying little cotton padded jackets to their parents. I didn't say girls were bad, right? 4 daughters are very good. Just like Comrade Lu Zayadai said, having daughters is better than having no daughters at all, such as me and Shuitian." Cao Hongju said with a genuine smile. Jin Hong twitched the corner of his mouth. "Sister-in-law, don't take Zayadai's words to heart, she is born with a bad mouth. This is also a double entendre." Cao Hongju was pulled by Li Shuitian. "Hongju, look at you, don't delay Comrade Lu Jiang's schedule." After saying that, he looked at Lu Zhang and said, "Comrade Lu Zhang, Comrade Ping Zhenkai, Comrade Cao Hongju and I will see you off just a short distance away. You go slowly and bring my sister-in-law and Zhuang over to play when you have time another day." Lu Zhang nodded to the couple and Jin Hong respectively, turned to Ping Zhenkai and said, "Hug Erxian, let's go." At the same time, he told his daughter to hold on to her clothes so as not to fall behind. "Dad, don't worry, I am de Fuebao, not a child anymore. Let's go quickly, you see the 2 bears want to run away." Fuebao was very smart and kept urging Lu Zhang, then turned around and waved to Li Shuitian and Cao Hongju, "Goodbye Uncle Shuitian, goodbye Madam Hongju." "Goodbye," Li Shuitian and Cao Hongju waved at the same time. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1412. After watching Lu Zhang leave, Li Shuitian and Cao Hongju turned back to the room without even looking at Jin Hong. Fortunately, After he came to Beizhu to settle down, he was kind to them, as if he didn't have any objections. Jin Hong couldn't care less about the performance of Li Shuitian and his wife. He gritted his teeth, stamped his feet, and rushed to catch up with Lu Zhang, who was about to walk away. Comrade Lu Zhang, please wait for me. Having fallen to this point, Jin Hong is more knowledgeable than ever. Although he wanted to call Comrade Commander of the Army, he knew not to raise the eyebrows of his neighbors by calling him out. Lu Zhang frowned, stopped, and turned around. Comrade Jin Hong, we are in a hurry to go back. If you have anything to do, please keep it short. Facing the stern-looking Lu Zhang, Jin Hong felt a little timid, but in the end his future prevailed, and he begged in a low voice, Comrade Commander of the Army, I was wronged. Really, please follow me. Comrade Commander Ye asked them to intercede and ask someone to investigate this matter, find out the false accuser, and clear my name. I joined the army when I was young, and I have been living and dining in the army for so many years. I really don't want to bear this crime. Leave. What is your crime? Lu Zhang asked bluntly. Old Jin Hong blushed, shook his head and said, I really haven't done those things, so how can I be charged? The so-called charges are just trying to add guilt, and I don't admit that it is my crime. Comrade Commander of the Army, you and sister-in-law Qingsue was once falsely accused by Comrade Cao Hongju, and she should know the feeling of being falsely accused best. Don't forget to bring up the past in Lu Zhang. Lu Zhang shook his head, I have left the border defense force, and the military affairs there are not under my control. Your request is a bit overwhelming, and I cannot agree to it. Jin Hong suddenly became anxious, Comrade Commander of the Army, I am really wronged. Everything happened after I left. I know nothing about it, and I believe the army must have its own intentions. Just wait until I call to ask what's going on. Lu Zhang let go of his daughter's hand. Patting Jin Hong on the shoulder, you are now settled in Beizhu. I think you are doing well after leaving the army, so don't worry too much. Fu Bao urged, Dad, can you leave? If you don't leave, I will be angry. Let's go. Lu Zhang immediately held his daughter's little hand, Comrade Jin Hong, no matter which position we are in, we soldiers must do our duty and be impeccable in this position. How many veterans hide their names after returning to their hometowns just to avoid burdening the country? We should follow their example. To follow? Just imitate it? If it weren't for Lu Jiang's high position and power, Jin Hong would have wanted to curse out loud, but he didn't dare. He could only watch Lu Zhang walk away with his head held high, while he returned home to sulk. Jin Zayadai carefully held the little sister without a name and took the other two sisters out. No matter whether Jin Hong was angry or Lu Zayadai was angry or they were fighting, they would only take it out on their sisters, so when they saw the angry Jin Hong, Jin Zayadai stayed away from them with discernment. Lu Zayadai looked in the mirror and smeared a little cream on her old, haggard, and yellow face. Who are you going to show off to when you come back? Do you know who I just bumped into? Who? It can't be the army chief's family, right? We haven't gone to the army to find him yet. Lu Zayadai knew Jin Hong's plan to settle in Beizhu, so she came to Lu Zhang and his wife, hoping to use their help to return to the army. Jin Hong said angrily, it's Comrade Commander of the Army. He just left Li Shuishan's house and happened to be bumped into by me. My eyes hurt and my head hurts. I must be dizzy. I only drank millet porridge for several days and my eyes gleamed when I saw what I was eating. Today I owe 4 more chapters. Ugh. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1413. After understanding what Jin Hong meant, Lu Zayadai couldn't believe her ears. What? You said Comrade Commander of the army came specifically to see Li Shuitian. She grabbed Jin Hong, and the uneven cream on her hand rubbed against Jin Hong's hand, which aroused Jin Hong's disgust, and he pulled out his hand with all his strength. Rub the cream on your clothes. You heard me right, he just came to see Li Shuitian. Li Shuitian must have played some trick to get back to the army. Lu Zayadai interrupted Jin Hong, want to return to the army? No way. Jin Hong nodded, I think so too. No matter what, we cannot let Li Shuitian return to the army. If he wants to return, I will return. I am the director of the political department. What should I do if he goes back? Lu Zayadai glanced at him sideways, don't forget how you left and still want to return to the army. Is it possible? The reason why Li Shuitian left the army was because of Cao Hongju. He was implicated by Cao Hongju. You left because of yourself. It made us, the mothers, follow you all the way back to our hometown and suffered all the ridicule. Why are you talking about this? I told you, I was wronged, I was wronged. Li Shuitian and Cao Hongju are determined to sabotage the revolution. Jin Hong's face darkened, he pushed her away and walked out. Where are you going? Lu Zayadai said loudly, her expression not good looking at all. I'm going to find someone and try to find a way to visit Comrade Commander of the army at the Long Live Army Garrison. If he couldn't see Lu Zhang and couldn't get help from Lu Zhang, why should he swallow his humiliation and succumb to Li Shuitian? Later I found out that Li Shuitian was the leader. Lu Zayadai stamped her feet angrily and spat at Jin Hong's back. Sister Jin Zayadai in the bedroom didn't dare to take a breath, but what do babies of a few months old know? Crying loudly. When Lu Zayadai heard this, she ran to the west room in 3 steps and then slapped the swaddled baby. Her face was full of anger. Cry. I asked you to cry. Why are you crying? You have to pay for it. Why don't you die? Is it a waste of money? Jin Zayadai hugged her little sister and couldn't even hide, because the more she hid, the more she would be beaten and scolded. Mom, I'll coax her and she won't cry for a while. You go find Dad quickly. Don't let Dad go out alone. I saw him talking to an older sister he didn't know yesterday. My father and older sister were so happy that they left. What? Lu Zayadai yelled, which fox was your dad talking and laughing with again? Jin Zayadai shook her head, I don't know her, but that eldest sister is very pretty. She has fair skin, black hair, red mouth, and 2 big braids that reach her buttocks. There are no such people nearby. Many of them have short hair. Even braids are at most a foot long and none reach their waist. Lu Zayadai rushed out and ran out, fearing that she would be a step too late. Jin Zayadai patted her little sister, changed her diapers and prepared milk powder with great skill. After her sister was born and before she left the army, her uncles and aunts in the army collected a large amount of money and gave it to her privately. The total amount was more than 600 yuan. Tianling had a son, and the conditions were so poor. I gave her 10 yuan and asked her to get her sister's birth certificate and go to the store to buy milk powder, but she could only secretly give it to her sister. We need to grow up quickly. When we grow up, we can make money to support ourselves. We don't have to be beaten every day. Jin Zayadai coaxed the little sister and gave the remaining milk powder to the 2 sisters to drink a few sips each to supplement their nutrition. Jin Pundi and Jin Lady nodded, with a happy smile on their faces after drinking milk powder. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1414. Lu Zhang felt very happy when he met Li Shuitian. He felt relieved knowing that they were living a good life. However, he felt unhappy when he met Jin Hong. The day after he returned to the army, he gave Ye Zhenjun a blow. Call and ask about Jin Hong. Oh, are you talking about this? I forgot to tell you. Ye Zhenjun was very unimpressed, which showed that he didn't take Jin Hong seriously. After he returned to the army, he heard about Lu Zayadai's curse on the Lu family's children, and he was disgusted at that time. However, Jin Hong's lifestyle was not right, and he soon showed his flaws and was stabbed in the army. With such a good opportunity, it would be strange for Ye Zhenjun to let him go. Jin Hong also had a backer. After a game, the army expelled Jin Hong from the army because of his unhealthy lifestyle. What is wrong with lifestyle is actually the wrong style of men and women. When Lu Zayadai was pregnant with her fourth child, not long after I came back and you were transferred away, Jin Hong felt depressed and got mixed up with a female soldier who joined the army last year. The other wanted to climb high. Son, a man who wanted to divorce and remarry was actually going back and forth, but before we could take action, Lu Zayadai caught her and she was so angry that she gave birth prematurely. Ye Zhenjun didn't like Jin Hong at all. Compared with Li Shuitian, who was honest, fair, and kind to others, who was Jin Hong? He actually reported Li Shuitian and Cao Hongzhi for the sake of superiority. The army is the army, and no one is allowed to engage in corruption, collusion, and other unhealthy practices. Ye Zhenjun is strict in running the army and will never tolerate this situation. Jin Hong didn't admit it at the time. He only said that the female soldier had encountered difficulties in learning and came to ask him for advice. There was no issue between men and women, it was just someone else who was trying to make up for it. You didn't see that scene. This was the first time I saw Jin Hong's eloquence. Lu Zhang hummed, when I told you about the paddy field incident, I felt that Jin Hong couldn't always be honest. Who didn't know that he wanted to have a son? I also knew that he had evil thoughts about cheating. I want to wait for a while. I didn't expect to be transferred later, so I can only leave this matter to you. This Jin Hong really lives up to our expectations. Ye Zhenjun couldn't help but nodded, yes, yes, it lives up to expectations, the evidence is conclusive. By the way, why did you think of asking him? Yesterday I took my children to play in Beizhu City, and I happened to meet Comrade Li Shuitian, and I also happened to meet Jin Hong. As Comrade Li Shuitian said himself, we are really enemies on a narrow road, and the two families are separated by a wall, and Jin Hong is Comrade Li Shuitian's subordinate. When Ye Zhenjun heard this, he burst into laughter. What is this called? This is called the cycle of heavenly principles, and retribution is not good. Cao Hongzhi's mouth is so harsh, and people are bound to retaliate. It is strange that Jin Hong's good fruit is eaten. Later, you can tell Li Shuitian to work with peace of mind. His affairs will eventually be resolved, give him a clean slate. I'll tell old Zheng Xiaozhao about what happened to Jin Hong, and they will be relieved. Lu Zhang shook his head and smiled, and then he put down the phone after Ye Zhenjun hung up the phone. He didn't have time to look for Li Shuitian, and he believed that Li Shuitian could bear his temper. Unexpectedly, Jin Hong came to find him very quickly. It had only been 5 or 6 days since they met him by chance in Beizhu. After hearing the report, Lu Zhang didn't even raise his head, just say that I am very busy at work and have little ability to do anything else. I asked the management department of the Border Defense Force about what happened. He understood in his heart that I don't know much about it. He said that I couldn't help him at the moment, so he should work hard first and wait until the news is over. Yes, leader. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1415. In the following months, Li Shuitian and Cao Hongzhi did not bother Lu Zhang and his wife, but Jin Hong was unyielding and came almost once or twice every month. Sometimes he would call Lu Zayadai and want to take the route of Feng Qingxiu. Who doesn't know that Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu are role models of loving couples? Feng Qingxiu's words had a great impact on Lu Zhang. Compared with what Cao Hongzhi had done to her own family, Feng Qingxiu was more disgusted with Lu Zayadai's vicious curse on her children. She didn't want to see them at all and directly asked the soldiers stationed at the family compound to send them away. In the hot summer, Jinhong and Luzaidai finally came less frequently. The military region service cooperative had watermelons in large quantities, and every household had supplies. The purchase was limited to 2 per person. Feng Qingxiu hurriedly asked Lu Zhang to go to Heping Genkai and buy 2 large bags of watermelons to carry back. The Lu family had a large population, so they bought 10 for. Zibao is not here, but his registered permanent residence remains with his parents. Feng Qingxiu cut the watermelon into a crescent shape, and handed a piece to Ping Genkai first. We have taken advantage of Zibao, so let's eat his watermelon first. Chuang, be good, don't eat it, you have a weak stomach. Eating milk cake with mom. Summer milk is hard to sell and goes bad easily, so she ordered milk for her children, which costs 30 or 40 yuan a month. He used the endless milk he drank in the morning to make delicious snacks such as milk cakes and cheese. For many years in the border guard force, I occasionally met Pasang Dalma and learned a lot of skills from her. Ping Genkai thanked him repeatedly. Thank you, sister-in-law. Sister-in-law, why don't you and the leader eat? You can eat yours. Your sister-in-law has a bad gastrointestinal condition and she doesn't like watermelon, Lu Zhang said while putting bibs on Dundun and Erxian. In fact, there are so many fruits and melons to eat in the space that the couple really have no shortage of them. This bite. Feng Qingxiu, who had a bad stomach, took her little son to eat milk cake. Lu Erxian was torn between watermelon and milk cake for a while. No matter what, he would eat the watermelon first and then eat the milk cake after finishing the watermelon. He decided happily and rushed to the table. Lu Erxian grabbed 2 pieces of watermelon and bit each one. A mouthful to show belonging. Lu Zhang was worried that his son Xiang would take a bite of all the cut watermelons. He was really capable of doing this, so he quickly handed 1 piece to each of Dundun and Fubao, and handed the remaining 2 pieces to Ping Genkai, and ate 2 pieces himself. Genkai, the above research has decided that many universities and colleges and technical schools will recruit students on a pilot basis. You should also go there. Going to college? Me, Ping Genkai was stunned and couldn't eat the watermelon anymore. After listening to Lu Jiang's words, Feng Qingxiu also pricked up her ears. Lu Jiang said sternly, although you have been studying and performing well, your knowledge cannot keep up. This is not okay. We soldiers can't just fight and kill. Our culture must also keep up. Many of our troops are in school. All first-class places in universities are in the army, and a recommendation system is implemented. I told the army that I recommend you to go to school and return to the army after graduation. Ping Genkai had a primary school education. He successfully entered the army with good physical fitness, good background, and meeting all the requirements. However, culture was his shortcoming. After he followed Lu Zhang, he saw that Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu studied whenever they had free time. Especially Feng Qingxiu, who practiced calligraphy and painting without hesitation every morning. He was envious in his heart and often asked Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu for advice. Now that he had the opportunity to go to college, how could he let it go? Thank you, leader, Ping Genkai burst into tears of gratitude, then hesitated. Who will protect you if I leave? This matter is more important than my going to college. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1416. Lu Zhang smiled slightly. There are so many good soldiers in the guard camp. Someone will come to take your place. You don't have to worry about my safety. Don't get involved in anything when you get to school. Seize the opportunity and study hard. I recommend that you go to Capital University. School starts in September, and you will leave in August 20th. However, don't make any noise about this. There are many people who want to go to college. If they know that you have a place, there will be trouble. Ping Jinkai said respectfully, yes, don't worry. The smile on his brows and eyes was like watermelon juice dripping from a watermelon. Feng Qingxiu was almost jealous to death. She also wanted to go to college and at least get a diploma. She was too old to take the college entrance examination 7 years later and was unable to take the college entrance examination. The only chance to go to school was now, but there were conditions for going to school. Soldiers, workers, staff of various government agencies, farmers, educated youth who went to the mountains and countryside, regardless of their previous, no matter what your education level is, you can take it regardless of your age. Of course, it is a recommendation system, not just anyone who wants to can take it. Although they will not be recognized as real college students for many years after graduation, and workers, peasants, and soldiers, college students who graduated from Capital University can only be regarded as undergraduates, but it is still better than Feng Qingxiu who does not have a diploma. It also makes it easier to continue studying in the future. However, Feng Qingxiu knew that she could not bring it up to embarrass Lu Zhang. She has retired. She is not a worker, a soldier, a farmer, a staff member of an agency, or a family member of the military. If she wants to go to school, Lu Zhang can certainly get her a place, but she doesn't want to do this, and she can't let Lu Zhang. It leaves a stain on my life, and I can't leave the children at home and only care about myself. Therefore, she said nothing about this matter, even though she was particularly envious of soldiers who could go to college. She only asked Lu Zhang to send a telegram to her family and not allow several children to participate in the competition for places in the workers, peasants, and soldiers' university. After a few years, the university is recruiting students again, even if it is a 1-year or 2-year system, which makes many people excited. It is said that it is a recommendation system, but there are still signs of backdoors, and there are repeated prohibitions. The Long Live Army is strict in Lu Zhang. Under the management, soldiers are recommended to go to school in accordance with regulations. Regardless of their origin, they are usually grassroots soldiers, but outside the army, they are not in charge. Hearing that the branch secretary of the brigade next door had given the only spot to his son-in-law, an educated youth, the villagers from the Wanglu brigade who wanted their children to go to college and the educated youth who wanted to go to college came to ask Wang Zhenqiu to whom the 3 spots in his brigade were going to be given. The Wanglu team is no longer what it used to be and got 3 spots. There is a place in a junior college to study mechanical manufacturing and 2 universities, one is Huihai Mining University and the other is Capital University. Wang Zhenqiu knocked on the table and looked at the room full of people. There are 3 quotas, 1 for educated youths and 2 for children from our brigade. Those who have good education must be those who have not gone to school or have a primary school education and are in university, do you understand? Choose those who meet the criteria first, and then vote. Whoever has the highest number of votes will go. Take a vote. This is fair. Everyone dispersed in a hurry and went to canvass for votes for themselves. Wang Zhenqiu lowered his raised hand and looked at the empty room where only he and his eldest son were left. He couldn't help but said, I haven't announced the list of people yet, how do you know you are there? He knew what everyone was doing, except Wang Dachun, who unfortunately heard his words. Wang Dachun smiled and said, I'll post the list so they don't waste their time. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1417. Black and red letters were posted on the bulletin board outside the office. There were more than 40 quotas in a row, regardless of age or gender. There was no name for the Lu family's child, and there was no Jojo among the educated youth. Hey, Dad, why are there no Tianzi and Guan Yu? And no Jojo? Wang Zhenqiu glanced at his eldest son who ran in. Ajiang sent a telegram to his family, not allowing his children to participate in the competition for quotas for workers, peasants, and soldiers' college students. Several children were very obedient, so they voluntarily quit. Jojo is a smart boy. Seeing that the TNZ brothers introduced it, and she also withdrew, saying that her life in our team was very stable, a peace she had never experienced before, and she was unwilling to compete with everyone for this place in school. No matter what the final result was, she would definitely make a decision before conflicts will occur. There are too many monks, and voting cannot stop the previous competition at all. Especially the group of educated youths, who are likely to guard and frame each other in private, causing the other party to lose this competitive spot. But if this method is not used, no matter who is finally allowed to go to college, those who cannot go to college will definitely be dissatisfied. Thinking of this, Wang Zhenqiu immediately said, "Blow the gong and call everyone over to hold a meeting. How can we leave them time to canvass for votes? Let's vote by a show of hands. Whoever gets the most support will go to school." Wang Dachun thought it right and went out to beat the gong to gather the crowd. He took his wife and children aside to whisper. The spectacle of the scene can be compared to that of pig slaughtering during the Chinese New Year. Fortunately, the busy farming season is over, otherwise no one would have time to spare. Wang Zhenqiu stood on the high platform and read his name to the crowd of people. If anyone wants to quit, it's not too late to quit now. If everyone wants to join, we will start voting by show of hands now. As soon as he finished speaking, a simple and honest young man whose name was on the list raised his hand. It was Wang Qingkan, Wang Zhenqiu's eldest grandson, Wang Dachun's eldest son, who was 2 years older than Lu Tianzi. He climbed to the high platform in a few steps, patted his chest, cleared his throat, and said with a smile, "I can't go up, I work at home to earn work points, support my father, my mother, my grandparents, the captain, please take care of me, please remove your name. I am so popular and so smart. If I am elected, no one can say that my grandpa is acting for personal gain." The words made everyone burst into laughter. Wang Zhenqiu laughed along, and Wang Dachun kicked him in anger. "What are you talking nonsense here? Everyone else wants to go to college, why don't you want to go to college? You have to remember, only college students can marry a good wife." Wang Qingkan jumped up and dodged the kick. "Dad, you are not a college student. Didn't you also marry my mother?" Wu Kuiwa in the audience was elated. "This brat. Sister-in-law, aren't you happy to be praised?" Wang Daxia's wife Wang Haiping pushed her sister-in-law's arm. "Your Kunzi has such a sweet mouth, she doesn't have to worry about finding a good wife. Which young man with a good temperament in our brigade is the most popular one?" The Wanglu Brigade has high work value and is still a place where girls from all over the country want to marry, so there are no bachelors in the Wanglu Brigade. Wang Daqiu's daughter-in-law Feng Xiaowai asked, "Sister-in-law, do you really agree that Kunzi should not go to college? If Tianzi doesn't go to college, it doesn't matter if Kunzi goes to college. Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu are both smart people among smart people. They must have their own intentions in not letting Lu Tianzi and Guan Yu go to college and follow their footsteps. Let's go, that's right." This was what Wang Dachun, Wu Kuiwa and Wang Qingkan had discussed before gathering, but they just came forward at this time to give Wang Zhenqiu some more face. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1418. Wang Qingkan quit, and a dozen young people quit one after another, because their family living conditions were not good, and there were few people in the family to earn work points. It would cost some money to go to college, and they had to come back after graduation, which was a double loss. Most of the 20 or so people left were educated youths, including Zheng Huiwai. Even if there are only 8 people competing in the Wanglu Brigade, Wang Zhenqiu cannot give the quota to the educated youth, because this is the Wanglu Brigade, and the interests of the Wanglu Brigade must be taken into consideration first. It would be easy to choose 2 out of 8 people, and the person who would go to school was quickly determined. One is named Lu Fei, the great-grandson of Grandpa Lu San, and the other is named Wang Chenying, a descendant of the Wang family. Both children have high school education, so they don't have to worry about not being able to understand the classes when they get to college. There is only one quota for educated youth, and it is easier to choose. Whoever is popular will be chosen by everyone. Zheng Huiwei, Wang Zhenqiu announced the result. She had the highest number of votes. Zheng Huiwei jumped up with joy, grabbing Jojo next to her. It's me, it's me, it's me, Jojo, I can go to college, I can go to college again. Congratulations, Huiwei, Jojo said sincerely. Zheng Huiwei was smiling brightly, but the faces of the other educated youths were not so good looking, especially Wang Huan, who had always been at odds with Jojo. His face was gloomy, as if lightning and thunder were about to happen. Zheng Huiwei didn't care. For her, going to school was the most important thing. Captain, there are 3 places in the university, which one should I go to? She really wanted to go to Capital University, which was once her dream, but was stifled by the situation and had to go to the mountains and countryside. Wang Zhenqiu said, draw lots, each of you will draw one, and you will go to whichever school you catch. Draw lots? Drawing lots is good and fair. After Wang Zhenqiu finished writing the note, rolled it into a ball and put it on the table, Zheng Huiwei grabbed one first, and after opening it, she was so surprised that she almost cried. Capital University, I can go to Capital University. She went to Capital University. Wang Chenning went to a junior college in mechanical manufacturing, and Lu Fei went to Huihei Mining University. Fair and just, everyone will be convinced. Zheng Huiwei pulled Jojo up and down. I can go back to the capital, I can go back to the capital. I especially want to see my good friends and my selfish eldest sister. She must have a very pretty face. My aunt sent me 2 packages of brown sugar. I don't know how she found out about it, so she whispered to my mother and asked my aunt for the brown sugar and wouldn't let her send it to me. Jojo was also very happy. Hui, go to school, help me visit my grandma and grandpa Hong, and help me bring them the clothes and shoes I made for them. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. I will definitely do it for you. Huihei City is relatively far from the capital. Zheng Huiwei set out on August 10, but Long Live Army was different. It started preparations in the latter half of the year. Ping Zhenkai left and new guard Guo Hongfei arrived. Feng Qingxiu treated him just like Ping Zhenkai, and Guo Hongfei felt relieved. At this time, Luo Zonghua came and slapped a document in front of Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu. It was sent from the capital, giving Comrade Qingxiu a place to go to university, and it was from the Spanish Department of Capital University. Prepare it as soon as possible. Get to the capital before signing up. Feng Qingxiu's eyes widened in surprise. Mine? Where did the quota come from? No, I can't take up the quota in the army. Luo Zonghua smiled slightly. The old leader invited you to go to school. It does not occupy the quota in the army. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1419. Lu Zhang was pleasantly surprised, even happier than Feng Qingxiu. He has always been very clear about what his wife is thinking. In the past month or 2, he has thought many times about using the public service for personal gain, and asked someone to recommend his wife to go to college. Since she came here decades later, her independence has long been ingrained in her mind. Naturally, he has a certain persistence in work and studies, but he knows his wife, and she will not accept the place offered under such circumstances. Now that the old leader spoke, it was an unexpected surprise for him, and he was overjoyed. However, Lu Zhang noticed that his wife was not as happy as he was, but rather worried and hesitant. She wants to go to school, and now the opportunity has come. Why is she looking like this? In an instant, Lu Zhang understood what his wife was worried about and couldn't help but smile. Old leader? Why did the old leader let me go to school? Feng Qingxiu picked up the document in disbelief. It was indeed an instruction recommending her to go to university. Department of Spanish at Capital University. Department of Spanish at Capital University. Is it a 1-year or 2-year program, annual system? Luo Zonghua smiled and said, I don't know about this. The higher UPS said that the school hours will be shortened, either 1 year or 2 years. Anyway, it won't be the previous 4 years. But I know why the old leader asked you to go to school. Why? Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu asked in unison. They were very curious about this question. Have you ever said that your biggest regret is never going to school? Luo Zonghua asked Xiang Feng Qingxiu. Feng Qingxiu blinked her big eyes that were exactly the same as her daughter's. Her bright face was full of doubts and her brows were furrowed. Did I say such a thing? I have no memory. I seem to have only said that I didn't go to school. Luo Zonghua patted his thigh. Then you must have revealed your desire or regret for school when you said this. This is possible. Feng Qingxiu nodded lightly, but does it have anything to do with my quota? Why not? Luo Zonghua said this, and then said, maybe you have shown it before, so the old leader remembered it in his heart. However, he definitely did not think of it at first. After all, the enrollment plan has been down for 2 years. It's been months. I think I just remembered it recently and gave you this instruction to study hard and graduate as soon as possible. Feng Qingxiu's mood was very complicated, including joy, sadness, gratitude, and a little bit at a loss. I never thought that the old leader would remember my expression at that time. I really don't know how to express my gratitude to him, the chief leader. Luo Zonghua smiled and said, the best thank you is not to waste this opportunity. Although there is a huge difference between the majors and medicine, Lu Zhang is happy that his wife finally has a chance to study. Unlike him, she has the opportunity to go to the military academy. Many leaders have studied there before and got married. I had attended it before, but it was not a senior cadre class, and Feng Qingxiu stayed at home for the sake of her children, so it was difficult for her to have the opportunity to go to school. Comrade Luo, don't worry. Qingxiu has been very studious since she was a child. She will definitely study hard and make progress every day. She will not disappoint the old leader, nor will anyone say that she became a doctor without even going to school. Lu Zhang saw his wife there was no response for a long time, and he immediately said to Luo Zonghua, next time I talk to the old leader, I have to thank him properly. After hearing this, Feng Qingxiu turned to look at Lu Zhang. What did he mean? Let yourself go to school? If you go to school, what will you do with your children? 4 children, all so young, cannot live without their parents. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1420. Luo Zonghua was in front of her, and so was Guo Hongfei. Feng Qingxiu couldn't bear to ask Lu Zhang directly, but when Lu Zhang sent Luo Zonghua back and Guo Hongfei was ordered to go shopping, she couldn't wait to express her worries. Of course I am happy to have the opportunity to go to school, but what about the children? All her 5 children are treasures. She must be responsible for her children and train them to become outstanding talents. She cannot abandon her children to pursue her own life just because of her own selfishness. But if she refuses, she will reject the old leader's kindness, and everyone will say that she is ignorant. Obeying orders is the bounden duty of soldiers, whether in service or not. Lu Zhang said amusingly, why do you think so much? You don't know that the workers, peasants, and soldiers university is not a serious university, and there are countless places where you can make articles. I have already thought about it for you. You must go to this school. Even if this academic qualification is not fully recognized in the future, you can continue your studies with this academic qualification. Didn't you say that the status of people with diplomas and those without diplomas is different in society? People respect people with higher diplomas more. Where are the children? What will happen to the children? If I go to school, what will happen to the children? I don't want them to blame me when they grow up for neglecting their lives for academic purposes. In that case, what's the point of going to school? She first had to consider herself as a mother. I feel heavy in my heart when I look at the 4 innocent children with big eyes. Lu Zhang said sternly, is it okay not to go? As you just said, this is an instruction given by the old leader himself. It fails the old leader's good intentions and is not good for you, me, or our whole family. Feng Qingxiu scratched the big braid on the back of her head. What do you think about the children? I must take them with me. Lu Zhang is busy with work, and has only been home every night recently. This is not always the case when he is busy, and he also has to go on business trips. In addition to the position of military commander, he has many titles, and he has to attend many important meetings in the capital. Then take it with you, Lu Zhang said without thinking. Seeing his wife's eyes widening, Lu Zhang smiled. I checked the information about worker, peasant, and soldier college students. You bought a lot of books when you bought them, but there is a lot of historical data. I found that worker, peasant, and soldier college students generally have 1-year programs. Or 2-year system, needless to say, although there are only a few records about worker, peasant, and soldier college students, I have seen that Capital University enrolled more than 10,000 students in the first year, and had more than 30,000 faculty members. Is this happening? Feng Qingxiu tried hard to recall, but she didn't pay attention because she never thought she would attend the workers, peasants, and soldiers' university. Lu Zhang nodded, yes, there are definite records. What does this record have to do with whether I can go to school or take care of my children? Feng Qingxiu was a little dazed by the surprise and didn't want to think about it at all. Lu Zhang flicked her forehead, of course it does matter. Don't be so secretive, just tell me. Okay, Lu Zhang raised his hands in surrender. What I mean is that with few students, there must be free student dormitories or staff dormitories. Many old professors have been decentralized or have passed away, so the staff dormitories where they lived will naturally be there is no one left. What I mean is, take advantage of the old leader's instructions and find a way to apply for a dormitory.